News Time 740. Do you realize more than 15 million people across West Africa, most of them children, don't have the food they need to eat, and the World Food Program fears mass starvation is now inevitable? Good morning, Paul Lindman and Scott Lynn. Earlier, we had a chance to catch up with Bazi Kanani. She's an ABC News correspondent who recently visited Niger in West Africa, where she witnessed firsthand massive drought and the hunger crisis there, and she joins us this morning. Bazi, tell us what you saw.
Sure. Well, I can tell you from what I've seen, this is already at crisis levels. But aid agencies hope that if people really respond now, they can keep what is a hunger crisis happening from becoming an all-out catastrophe. What I saw in one of the countries that was hardest hit, in the country of Niger, were villages that are very hard to reach, where women are down to having to go out and pick leaves off of trees, and that's all the food they have to cook for their families. Another woman showed me these wild berries she had picked that are so bitter she has to cook them for 3 days just to make them edible because they're really not meant for human consumption. At health clinics, you see the lines of women coming in with these very thin babies and young children are getting longer and longer each day. And aid agencies say they need more supplies because of the increasing number of people who need help, and they still have many months to go before the next possible harvest.
What are the conditions that have created these famine conditions?
Well, the main cause of this is a drought. That last year the rains just didn't fall, and most of the crops failed. And so what little food is available is very expensive. Well, for the most people who live in this region, they make very little money, less than $1 a day, and they already spend the vast majority of their income to buy food. Well, now imagine that food prices are at historic levels in some parts of this region, and they're spending all the money they have on food, and that's still not enough to meet their nutritional needs. So a lot of kids, especially young children, are the most vulnerable, and we are seeing them already getting very thin, and if they don't get enough food, enough nutritional support, many of them, hundreds of thousands of them in this region, just won't make it.
The largest emergency food aid agency, the World Food Program, are they able to help at all?
They're doing what they can, absolutely. They would like to reach, in this region, and this drought is affecting 8 countries in West Africa right now, they would like to reach some 9 million people. But because of the limited funding they have so far, they're able to reach not even half of the people they need to reach. So they're doing what they can. We did see some food distribution where long lines of mothers were showing up just desperate from the help. They're trying to reach kids at school. They're trying to reach some villages. But again, we also saw these other places, these villages where they just can't reach because they only have so much supplies that they can use at this time.
A spokesperson for the Save the Children organization is quoted as saying today that the situation in Niger is so desperate, children are already starting to die, and the crisis is unavoidable. Is that pretty much your feeling as well?
Well, I think when you've been where I've been, in a health clinic, and you see mothers coming in with children, and many of them, by the time they get there, some of the babies we saw were just so thin, you have to wonder if it's already too late by the time that mother is seeking help. And so when you see that, you see the health workers weighing these little kids, measuring the little kids, testing them for malnutrition, and the majority of the kids you see are testing positive for malnutrition, and more testing for severe malnutrition. It's obvious to me, being there, that this is a crisis and this deserves a response.
And so our support of programs like World Food Program, absolutely critical to solving this problem, I assume.
Absolutely. There are millions of lives at stake here, and it's just a question of whether people can be moved to say, we want to help, and we want to help immediately in time to get food supplies in place before it's too late for these families.
ABC correspondent Bazi Kanani speaking to us from Nairobi this morning. Bazi, thank you very much.
Thank you.